name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bears Shed. Well, today I've got this big box here. It just turned up and it's a Hafco or Hare & Forbes bead blasting cabinet. And I've had a little one in the past. You can buy a little benchtop model, and well, it wasn't very satisfactory. I didn't like it much. It's out up on the heap there in the scrap. But look, I'll show you. I won't go through unpackaging because there's no secret to how do you undo something. But I'll slowly assemble it, and at the end I'll have a bit of a look, or anything of interest on the way I'll show. But in the meantime, getting this up from Hare & Forbes. Hare & Forbes are an Australian company, started in Sydney 80 years ago, something like that, and they're a machinery warehouse. They sell a lot of cheaper type stuff. They do have a higher quality of product as well for those who want to afford it. But the Hare & Forbes stuff, for a good cheap alternative for a hobbyist, it's great. I think some of the lathes look to me to be similar to the American Grizzly, and they could be out of the same Chinese factory, just rebadge them on the way out the door. But for my hobby, I have a Hare & Forbes, an AL335 lathe, and it's been a great lathe. I can't fault it. It does everything I need and more. I've put a digital readout on it now, and that's made it a lot handier for me. I've got I think it's a HM 50mm. It's the largest of the mills. Well, it's the largest of the benchtop mills, I suppose you should say. And it's a Morse 3 taper, and it's got a digital readout and coolant, and that's been a great thing for me as well. I've got a lot of pleasure out of that. I've also got a Hare & Forbes folder, a pan brake folder, which has been handy. I've got a Hare & Forbes 50-ton press, and they're the cheaper end of the market, but they do the job for someone that's not in a workshop anymore. It's certainly good enough. Back when I had the workshop, we bought a dearer sort of stuff, but you had everyone using it. Like didn't matter who come in the door, they'd be, just borrow your press, just do this and that. And you used to let them quite often, and we had different quality stuff there. But look, for anything we do at home for your hobby and that, Hare & Forbes or Hafco, they're great stuff. And I think Bruce over West Australia, I think I see a bit of it in his shed as well. And yeah, some of the stuff he can do, yeah, it certainly stands up to it. But look, apart from that, when I got the blast cabinet, I've got a Abbott and Ashby, I think it is, grinder. It's a 200mm grinder that I got off Hare & Forbes, funny enough. And I've got one of those multi-tools on the side of it. And since I've put the multi-tool on the side, I've blown a couple of start capacitors. And so I took the opportunity while I was talking to Hare & Forbes to get a couple of start capacitors. Now, I was having a mumble a while ago about these lathe quick change tool holders, the 250-201s. Well, I bought another 3, and that should about do me. I've got 19 of them now, and I've got a tool for every one, a different type tool for each one. So I'll probably line them up and do a bit of showing off one day, but anyway, we'll just see. And also, for a little job I found another larger 60-degree dovetail cutter. So, it's like Christmas every day here, isn't it? That's what my missus reckons. But anyway, and while I got it coming up as well, I have a couple of live centres for my lathe, number 3 Morse taper live centres, but I haven't got one with replaceable ends that we can pop the end out and put a pipe centre in or something like that. So while the freight was coming up, I bought one of them as well. And I find with my other live centres, they're quite bulky right up to the end, and sometimes I can't get a tool in where I'd like to. So that was a catalyst for buying this with, you know, some smaller ends, and that looks to have a carbide. I don't know if you can see that or not, but looks to have a carbide tip on it. I'm not sure how good you can see that. You're probably all seeing it better than me, being a blind old fart. But anyway, that's something else we've done. Yeah, that doesn't have a carbide centre, just a small one. And these other rolls up here, on the blast cabinet, it takes 75 kilos of glass beads, so 150, 60 pound of glass beads, and these are extra protective shields for the glass, the window that you look into. And I also got some for the light. So as they get a bit frosted up from the glass beads hitting them, yeah, we can replace these and keep a nice even vision. So anyway, stay tuned, hang on to your hat, and I'll get to cutting this up and try not to do myself any damage on the way, and I'll show you when it's assembled, or I'll show you if I find something interesting along the way. Well, I finally got the top off. Took me a while, but this is a nice powder coated finish, which I'm quite impressed with. And if you have a look down at the holes, they're all nice clear threads. Looks like they've been tapped nicely. So that's a good thing. We'll put a bit of Never-Seez on these, just so yeah, so we can get it out if we ever need to pull it apart again. But yeah, it's packed very well. I'm quite pleased with that. There's plenty of foam on the outside, and the frame's nice and thick. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. Sometimes you think with the cheaper stuff you get a bit cheaper quality, but the powder coating's pretty well into the corners. There's a little bit light there, but yeah, I'm quite pleased. Well, here you go. It took me a few hours to do. A few little things I had to do to it. Along the side there you can see where I've actually added more silicone, and along the front there, just to try and stop any air leaks. My last one had a heap of air leaks and I hated it. So I've sealed that one up. It has a control for the light and a control for the dust collector. The dust collector is quite noisy. It's quite a size, and I'll turn it on for a second. So even though it's a handy thing to have, it is quite noisy. Now that's the front, and I'll try and do all this one-handed if I can. The whole front comes up. That's the front of a John Deere that I had trouble with, that my dad buggered up my paint on. I'll have to fix that yet. And this is the top of a Dutch oven I've been playing with. So the finish is lovely. That was what we started with, and this is what we have now, so that's fine. If we go around the back, this is the air inlet. It comes down a tube, and the fan's over there. That's some more silicone work I did. Bit messy up here. When I was shifting it around, I put my hand right on top of the silicone. Wouldn't that give you the shits? Anyway, look, I'll get it set up. I'll put something in there and try and give a demo through the window. I don't know how the light's going to go. There's 4 fluorescent lights up above it, and I'll leave the cyclone off for a moment, just because of the noise. There's a 6mm tip in there at the moment with a foot control, so I'll try and concentrate on a piece over the back there. You can just see it. It's a bit smoky. That needs a bit more of a tidy up, but it's fairly savage on air and the compressor doesn't take long to kick in. But anyway, that's a bit of show and tell with a handpiece with a 6mm ceramic tip in it. And down the bottom here we have a foot control. So all in all, I'm quite happy with it. I left the front beam off, which is, there should be a beam going along that goes across the front between those two legs, but I've left it out so that if I need to bring the crane in through here to put a heavy piece in, I can get good access with the crane. Well, I thought I'd better do a little bit on the Fairbanks Morse, just for Emma, or else she'll be going crook beyond me. I'll just flatten this top out and flatten these off, just so I can get a good mark out position. Come down and drop it down just a touch. Bit more than a touch, that bugger anyway. And we'll bring her out here. I'll try and zoom out a bit so you can see a little bit more of what's happening without hopping in your road. And we'll come across to this last one. Right, now we'll bring him up a little bit. And we'll just touch these valve guides. Might just go a little bit deeper just so I've got a place to mark off on a bit better. So we'll hop into there a little bit. So we've got a couple of nice surfaces now to mark off from. And that will have to do for this week. Thanks for watching. Yeah, like, comment if you like it, and subscribe. Content's been a little bit slack lately. I've been putting a lot of effort into shifting stuff from another shed that we've had tenants move out over east, and I've been 3 weeks straight on that, and we hadn't really had a day off to do anything in the shed. And I've also been doing the pool room, which those on my Facebook page will see the work we've been putting into the pool room, putting old corrugated iron on And yeah, look, it's coming up a treat, but we just haven't had much time up the shed. So look, once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll get a bit of clear space in the near future, and I can put something a bit worth looking at here for you. I'll catch you later, eh?